Hi everybody, it's Tarek. Just listen to the sound for a second. Just listen. That's a film camera. So this is the Hasselblad 503CW, my medium format film camera. And thank you for watching today. I'm so excited about this day and to share this video with you. So today I'm going to take my film camera, Hasselblad 503CW, and my digital Hasselblad, the 907X, and I'm going to put the digital back from the digital camera onto the film camera. So it's kind of a digital film thing. Okay, so let me explain a little bit. So on the channel there we have non-photographers, we've got beginner photographers, we've got super experienced awesome photographers, and thank you everybody for being here and watching this. So I'm going to explain things at a basic level for the non-photographers so you can learn a little bit about photography, and I'm just going to add a little bit more, you know, for everybody else, and you know, some things that experienced photographers would enjoy. So if you're not a photographer and you haven't seen a camera like this, this is a medium format film camera, and what makes it unique is it's modular. I mean, there's a lens, a body, the square thing here, and a back. That back is this. This is a digital, I'm sorry, I'm getting these confused. This is a film magazine. So this is a little canister that the film goes in. So here's a roll of film. Basically, it ends up going in here, and then you roll it, put it on the thing, slide it, insert it, and then it can go on the back of the camera. Now I have another one that's already on the camera. So here it is. It's struggling to take it off. Oh, I know why, because I have the dark slide out. The dark slide protects the film from exposure. So here, I removed this digital film back with one roll of film, perhaps color or slide, and I can put a different film back on top of it with, say, black and white, and then I can take another picture. So in film photography days, modular cameras like this were pretty rare, and it was largely the square boxy cameras, the Hasselblads. There are others too. So okay, so take this camera off and knocking my hat off too. I know, I'm so excited, but I'm not stopping. We're going with this. So here is the Hasselblad 907X, which is the digital equivalent modular system of the camera I just showed you. So here there's a digital back. This thing, see, it's so similar in shape and size to the film back. There's the camera, which is literally this thin sliver right here. This little thin piece of metal, that's the camera. Little lens, optical viewfinder, a grip. There's other videos on that. All right, so today is about taking that digital back from the digital camera and putting it on the older film camera that was designed in film days. So we're gonna do it here. This is my first time doing this. I am so excited, and there's more to come with this, but let's see how this goes. All right, that strap's a little short. So taking the digital camera, removing the back from it. There it is. And now I'm just going to cover up the back of the camera here. I think I've got that in right. There. So see how thin the camera is? It's literally this thing. So now I'm setting this aside. And now I am taking the film back off the film camera and grabbing the digital back and this is the first time I'm ever doing this. Okay, so I'm going to remove it from my head. Taking this. And there it is. Digital back, old film body, old film lens, prism viewfinder. Now this is a digital camera. And I must say, it is significantly heavier on the back now because there's a battery in here. So that's basically it. The camera is set up, and it's an 80mm lens right now. And I'm going to pause the film for a second. Okay, I'm going to put the film back on the camera for a moment. Take the digital back off. I'm reversing the steps here. Okay, film back is back on, and technically that would be ready to take film pictures, just switching things out like that. And because I don't want that lens, the sensor of the digital back exposed while I do other things, I'm just going to put it back on to the digital camera. And there it is, reassembled. Okay, so I was reading the manual on how to use that back, the CFV II 50C, on Hasselblad 503CW or 500C, 501C, CM, 503C, CX, CW, 503CWD. You know, there are like 11 of them. There are a whole bunch. It might not be that many, but there's several. And there are several finer points to it. So now I'm going to start talking to the photographers here. There is a prism viewfinder. So I happen to have this prism viewfinder, which is, I find, better than the 90-degree viewing angle of the pop-up viewfinder. And there's an AccuMatte screen in here. That's what you actually see. And that's a 6x6 format. So the film format 6x6 is a square. Remember how I had see that square 6x6? That is a square, whereas the digital back I have here is a 645. It's a smaller sensor. So it's helpful to try to know, what you're looking at. So Hasselblad with the 907X and this digital back, they also provide a little mask. So while you have a viewfinder that has a 6x6 view, that mask kind of covers. It's kind of like having masking tape, duct tape. It's a duct tape solution. Let's just face it. Okay, it's simple. That kind of covers it, so you're looking at a 645 rectangle when you look through the viewfinder, and that is what is the size of the sensor on the digital back. So it makes sense. But a better solution is to get an AccuMatte screen from Hasselblad, which I bought here. And the AccuMatte screen has an advantage in that it actually, you can leave it on the camera, on the film camera all the time. So you still see 6x6, you still see the square when you're looking through it, but it has markings for the 645 in there. And granted, that is expensive. I think it was around $260, and when I ordered it, it took a long time to get here. So I want to set that up, and since this might be valuable for some photographers who've got a film background, or just people that are just interested in these modular systems to see, I'm going to do that on camera, so it might be a little bumpy, but we'll get through it. So so here we go. First, I'm going to get a glove on, because, just got to treat your equipment right. And cotton gloves. So I'm going to take the prism viewfinder out from underneath this eyepiece here, And I'm going to replace it with this new viewfinder that has the 645 rectangular markings on it. So this could be helpful for some people to see if you're interested in these systems. So the first thing is, I'm just paranoid, so I'll just put it around my neck. So I'm taking the film back off. First step. Boy, it looks like I'm wearing someone else's gloves, doesn't it? Yeah. That's better. Fitted gloves. Okay, so like I said, modular system. Now the next step is I'm going to take off, I slide off the eyepiece. And you can see the eyepiece right there. So I'm going to slide that off. I'm just going to set that aside. It's got a mirror in it. I'm going to set that down. And right in here, you can see there is this prism finder. So I'm going to replace that, take that out, and put the new one in. So this is going to be a little tricky. There are two pieces in here that slide to the side. I'll show that as I try to remove this. So I'm going to try to do this very gently. Okay, so I haven't taken this out in many years, probably since I first put it in. So this is a little piece that you slide to the side here, and then there's another one that you slide to the side there. Then basically you're supposed to turn it over and it drops out. And voila, magic trick. Okay, so if I remember, shiny side up. It's got these little feet here at the bottom. Those go down to the little edges here. The other side is smooth. The smooth metal side is the side that goes up. So I am setting that down, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with this other one. And again, it has got little feet at the bottom that are little feet. That's going to be at the bottom, and then it's got a smooth side at the top. So here you can see, basically, see the rectangle there? That rectangle, that's a 645. That's the size of the digital sensor. And the rest of it is the full 6x6. So now I got to set this in right. And it just drops in place. And remember those little things I slid to the side? They're like spring loaded, so they are already moved to the side. Now I don't have to worry about those, because once I slide this back in, this little rail, as it slides in, it's going to push. I just have to, it's going to push those little holders right back over the prism viewfinder. It does look like it's smooth in there. All right. Okay, something's a little stiff, so just gonna remove it. Just see, does it look flat? It does. Okay, I just had to slide it evenly and smoothly. So it's in, and now I'm gonna put the film back on because it's a little lighter. It helps if I push this in all the way. Yep. Okay, so something's a little stiff. This is like real world. This is authentic. This isn't like all cleaned up, you know, and sanitized. So this is kind of like what you experience when you do something like this. Okay. Ah, that was the click. You need to go in a little further. See? So there, I just hopefully saved you some time. And that awesome click. Now I'm gonna look through this for the first time, and oh, this is cool. All right, so my first impression looking through this, other than what you just heard, is it seems like it's got a slightly warm golden cast to it compared to this other one, which is over 20 some years old, 22 years old or so, 23 years. But the black markings on the AccuMatte screen that I showed you, they look thick. They're not like light. They're very visible. They're really clear to see. So if you're going to be shooting in light or dark, and where I'm looking at the camera, that's actually kind of a dark background. So that is pretty good. And even though there's more on the sides for the full 6x6 square, the 645 covers a lot of that. It really covers quite a bit of it. So I thought it was actually going to be less. When I was just looking at the the AccuMatte screen by itself, it looked like it was smaller. But now that it's in here and I see that, it's fairly respectable. Now, I was at first going to just do this with the duct tape solution. Sorry, I probably shouldn't call it that, but with the little mask cover over the original thing. It's kind of like a little plastic cover, and that would be fine. The advantages of having this AccuMatte screen are a few. One, I can just have this AccuMatte screen and I can put a film magazine on like I have here, and I can shoot with film and I can see the full frame, I can see the full square. And if I put the digital back on, I don't have to put the mask on or off. I've got the lines and I can see just fine with those. So those are two advantages right there. Another one, and I was doing a little research, is this AccuMatte screen is better than my original, is that it's got a split prism in the center, and that helps with focusing. And I forgot how nice that was. It's very nice. And it's got the little micro prism circle right around that. And it's very sharp. It's very sharp and clean. Now, I haven't cleaned that one off in well over 10 years, but it's still very bright. But this is, oh, it just feels rich looking through here. So, okay, so I thought I would show this because I know for the experienced photographers, the Hasselblad film photographers who may not have gone into digital, these are some of the things you may be curious about. Or if you are a newer photographer to this type of format, whether you've had a lot of experience or not, if you've been shooting in digital and you're kind of curious about this, I just wanted to give you sort of my impressions. So that's part 2 of this setup. Now, I will get the digital back on here. Part 3, this I found confusing in reading the directions in the Hasselblad menu on the digital back, and it was saying to set up and shoot in live view that you need to have a cable release in live view, and it was saying basically you attach that to the film camera. You have the digital back on here. It said to set it in the lock position, and it wasn't so clear what that meant. Then it said turn on live view on the digital back. Okay, makes sense. It said use the cable release to take the picture. I guess that's this. And then it said turn off live view because it sucks the battery. I added that. It didn't say it sucks the battery, but that's elsewhere in the manual. And then it said, you know, remove basically the cable release. But it didn't talk about too much more. It did talk about focusing. You can double tap to focus to zoom in. You can slide the screen, how much you zoom in. It talked about that, so that was good. And there's also a crop factor. So by default, it is 645, that the rectangle that is with the digital back. And you can set it to, I think it's 10 others. So 6x6, 7x6, A4, even the X band, there are several. With Focus Mobile 2, I think it said there is no crop. I think it was Focus Mobile 2, but in one thing that it said that there was no crop. But anyway, I do want to experience it with 645 because that's what I'm building experience on with a 907X digital camera. So I do want to shoot in the 645. So that was one other thing, and I think there was one other that I don't remember right now. So it was kind of limited, but I thought, okay, what I figured was missing, and I could have played with this before, but I just want to give you my real experience as I put this together, and I can't duplicate that. I can only do it one time, so we're doing it here. I really like this PME 45 angle viewfinder. It is so rich to look through, and I want to take advantage of that. I do have to go get a battery for it, so I'm going to stop by the photography store and pick up a battery for it. Focusing is very important, apparently, according to the manual, for the digital back when you're using the old film cameras, the 500 series or the 200 series. Focus is very important. I feel through here I can get tremendously good focus. I hope so. I don't know. It sounds like the exposure is, well, I'll figure that out. I've just got to figure it out. Oh, one step it did say to use this camera with live view is to set the lens on bulb. So I forgot to say that. But I love looking through here. I prefer looking through here rather than having to look through the live view screen. But you know, if I have to, I will. But I just want to see, can I do that? And if I can, I would really love it. This is so funny. Got my glove caught in there. I don't need to wear the gloves right now. Alright, so getting the digital back on the camera now that I have the Prism viewfinder on there, and it's locked in there, and it's heavier in the back now. It's funny because these film magazines are very light. They just have the film in there, but the digital back is heavy, so it tilts back this way rather than before it would like tilt forward with the film camera. So okay, I think that's good enough for now. I'm gonna go on to the next thing. I think I've talked enough about the basics. You've seen the excitement. This camera was my original 503 CW 80mm lens, and I was so excited when I got it. So yes, I do want to share this. I was so excited and yet very nervous about, it's expensive, you know, will I be able to step up from 35mm to this? And I want to share with you what you're seeing from me right now is actually a very similar type of nervousness and excitement at the same time by putting the digital back on here. Like, it's super exciting. I am more excited about being able to take digital pictures with this lens and this old camera than I was even about getting the 907X digital camera. I actually bought the camera because it had the digital back and I could put the digital back on the film camera. That's really why I bought it. It was an afterthought that I thought, well, since I'm getting that, I may as well get the 45p lens and enjoy that system. But the reason I got it, the original reason, was because I know what this lens looks like. And I knew the crop factor would be different, and I figured, yeah, I can adapt to that. I have other lenses that I know what they look like. And when I see scenes, I get excited about those. And when I get excited about each one of those lenses, it's about stuff that I experienced with this old camera. And when I say old camera, it wasn't old to me because I was using it when I was shooting. It's just older now. But I want to be clear to everybody, I'm not somebody who just picked up this camera because it's cool now. I picked it up when it wasn't necessarily cool many years ago, when a lot of pro photographers wouldn't even invest in it. And I did, and it's just been tremendously joyful for me, and I feel the same joy now. Plus, now I got kind of this digital film thing. Okay, so now I'm actually going to go on to something else. All right, you got all the excitement, raw, unedited. This is the real thing. No edits here. This is real, raw, passion about photography. Okay, so I just remembered a little bit more I need to talk about. So I'm going to turn the digital back on the film camera, on the 503CW, 80mm back. So turning it on. It's turning on. There are a few settings. Remember I said there was the crop factor. And so I have to go to the menu. I'm trying to do this backwards. And pick the camera. All right, yeah, I have to be able to read that now. So let's see. So I have to tell the digital back what camera body it is. So it is the, all right, camera body. It's thinking it's the 500, and I have to tell it it's the 503CW. All right, so camera body. All right, there we go. This is the okay, so there's the 503 plus the winder. I'm not using the winder. There's the 200 modified, 200, 2000, SWC, ELX, ELD, NE. Okay, so I think the version of software I have, it's just going to use the 500. That's the mode I'm going to shoot in. So I'm going to select it with a star and go back, and then show you the crop and orientation. So no crop factors, that's going to be 645. And then the other thing is image orientation. So just going to take a look at this piece. So this is an auto. So if you tilt the camera, it's, you know, it's 645, so it's a rectangle. So if you tilt it, there's the ability to set it to 0 degrees, 90, 180 degrees, and 270. I'm going to just leave it at auto, just see what that's like. So just to show you the different crop factor choices here, there's no crop factor 645. There's the 1x1, so that would be similar to a 645, but it's still a smaller sensor, so it's not the full 6x6. It's a 50 megapixel, and so it's got a 7x6 or 6x7, 5x4, or 4x5. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's more of a large format, paper format. That's what I think of that one. This one is huge. I just called it A4. 3x2, 3x2 crop, 24x36. That's the millimeter of traditional 35mm film. So that would be kind of like a full frame. Oh, I changed it, didn't mean to. And X-pan, which is really, really wide from the X-pan system. So I'm going back to the no crop. That's it. No crop, auto. So that was it for the choices there. And yeah, that was one of my last pictures. Okay, so going to turn it off. Shutting down. Okay, thought that would be good to cover the bases. Now I'm going to go buy that battery and hope it works on the viewfinder. All right, we're going to keep going. Okay, so I went and got a battery for the Prism viewfinder because it's got a light meter in here, which is great. I'm hoping to use that. Batteries changed. I got a Varta S28. It's supposed to be an S. Anyway, it's a silver oxide. It should work. It works on my other Hasselblad on the 205 FCC. Should work in here. And in my excitement, I forgot to get a ball head for the second tripod for the video camera, but you know, it's all right. Looking through the Prism viewfinder is just amazing with that new AccuMat screen. That split prism is so sharp, and looking through the 2.8 80mm lens, wow, that excitement of just that old photography and the new stuff, super exciting. So I'm back at the park. Basically, I've set up and there's this little cabin behind me, and I've kind of framed myself to take pictures of it. So let's try and look through the viewfinder here and see if we can see what I'm able to see through the viewfinder. I don't know if that's going to be visible, but okay, I think it just popped into focus, so I hope you can see the lines. Anyway, it frames it really nicely with the 645, and I hope it works. Just gonna try it out here. So here I go. This is really totally live, unedited. See what happens. Turn it on. I'm not really following the directions in the manual, by the way. On the Prism viewfinder, I have it set for ISO 100 and 2.8, and this has a light meter in here, and it gives I think a EV value light, and I can set that EV value based on the aperture that I choose here. I'm going to use f11, and let's take a meter reading again. Okay, 9. All right, 9. That's f11 at a quarter of a second. So turning on, well, returning on the digital back. This is super cool. It's already set to ISO, so yeah, I just gotta see what happens here. So I'm gonna take the picture. It's already framed, it's already focused, and see. Well, it said something, and let's see if I think it worked. Okay. All right. Yeah, super excited. All right, come on, let's take a look. That's the back of the camera, so that was the image. And see, my hand is in front of the camera, and you can still see it. So that truly is the image. So let's zoom in here. Ooh. All right. Now, hopefully that's in focus. That's pretty decent. Not bad. First picture. And I didn't follow the rules. Found something else to take a picture of, which is basically these yellow flowers in these bushes, which otherwise would probably not look that attractive. Again, this is still on the trail, and I have set up, this time I'm at f11, I'm metering through here to the Prism Finder again. I chose f11, no, f8. I got an EV reading of, let's see, what do I got here? 9. So let me set that to 9. It says 1/8 of a second here. I gotta tell you, my impressions are the lines in that Prism viewfinder are really, really good. And the 645 ratio is very, very practical. I mean, I love 6x6. I love the square. And I can still see what the whole composition would be like with a square, and it was a very decent composition. I mean, it's fairly evenly composed in terms of rule of thirds. I'm just going to shoot, and I'm going to set the camera up here at this time, so when I take the picture that you can see along with me what's going on. So here it is. I don't know if you can view in there, but Probably not. Okay. All right, so here we go. Look at the back, taking the picture, and we'll see how it works. So this is the shutter and aperture on the lens that is exposing it. Here we go. And there we have an image. We have the image. And it's starting to rain. So I'm gonna make like something and move fast to get out of here. Okay. So it started to rain when I was at the park, and that cut the photo shoot down. And the rest of the day really wasn't so good for taking more pictures. So this is actually the following day. I'm back home, and I wanted to take more pictures for this video, but I think I'm just going to be able to take a couple more, and it's going to be from inside the house, looking outside at basically what's the tree out there. And it is spring in the eastern US, and so we have some flowers, which are great. I had some ideas of taking these pictures from outside with a blue sky, but it's a cloudy sky. So I think I will do another video because I really wanted this to continue. But I think right now this is what I can do, take a couple more pictures, and I'm just going to go ahead and take the pictures. Not going to have the video of me because I have to like stand right here in the corner to take the pictures and get the camera right up against the window. And you just be basically looking at the back of my head, and you know it's just the back of my head. It's not a tree full of flowers. I'm going to add a little bit more after I take these pictures. I'm going to talk a little bit more, and I think then I'll wrap it up and edit and publish this video. So I'm going to take a meter reading with a handheld meter so I can show you what the meter reading would be. And turning it on, and I'm going to do a basic spot meter off the flowers I want to take a picture of. So we're just going to aim it up there and take the reading. And let's get this right. Okay. And basically I have an ISO 100 at f2.8. I have 500th of a second. Taken the picture, and I took a couple of readings, and it would be about one stop difference depending on when I was taking the meter reading with a handheld meter or with the camera. The wind is moving the branches, and so I had to be a bit patient to try to get the shot. So it's at f2.8. I did get a meter reading at 250th of a second, and I think that was the more accurate one than the one I just showed in the video. But it's basically a lot of white flowers, so that's not middle gray, that's very light, so that would end up being a little overexposed. So I went with 500th of a second, and that's going to bring it more to the right exposure. The other advantage is it's going to help freeze any movement of the flowers from the wind. It's at the end of a branch. So I've gone ahead and done that. I'm going to show the full picture, and I'm going to zoom in on the petals where I basically focused on. and we'll take a look at that. So I'd like to do another video continuing this with the 80mm lens on the Hasselblad 503 CW with the digital back from the CFV II 50C. So this is taking an old film camera and making it digital, and it's super exciting to me. And in RAW, if there's any difference, slightly, one stop, that's easily adjustable. I think the adjustment for a little bit extra light is going to be the right call. That's based on experience. And the light meter in the camera, it's a center weighted average, so it's just going to read from generally the center for most of the meter reading. And the handheld meter was a spot meter, so there's a slight difference there. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been so exciting to get a digital back and put it on a film camera and use the 80mm lens that I'm so familiar with. And I like the 645 rectangle. It really works well. It's not losing as much as I thought. And here's another thing for experienced Hasselblad photographers from film cameras to consider. While the square format is great, many times in prints and publications or whatever you're going to use it for, it ends up being a rectangle, either horizontal or vertical, so many times. So even when I was shooting in square format, I used to compose thinking about the picture. Is this going to be a square? Is it going to be a rectangle horizontal? Is it going to be a rectangle vertical? And I got good at basically composing for one or two or even all three when I took pictures, even in a single picture. And that's a challenge while I'm thinking of rule of thirds. So if that's something that you're hesitating about, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think there's so much more to gain with that digital back on the old Victor systems. And if you're not a photographer and you just you watched this far, thank you so much. If this was inspiring to you and you got curious about photography, excellent. So if you learned something, this was exciting, just gave you that extra edge for photography or whatever else you're doing, please give it a like, because it's those moments that are rare that stay with us. And if I touch that moment for you, I'm thrilled, and that's why I'm doing this. And if you're subscribed already, thank you. Thanks for keeping up with the channel. If you've watched the channel or are new, please consider subscribing. I'm going to do more of these things, a little bit more vlog style. I'm looking forward to getting out there when the sky is bluer and taking some more pictures of your subjects with this lens and camera. All right, thanks everybody. I will see you next time, and happy spring if you're in the northern hemisphere. Happy fall if you're in the southern hemisphere, and well, if you're watching this time of year, happy whatever season you have. All right, thanks everybody. I'm Tarek from Tarek's Rock. I'll see you next time.